Hi 803, happy snow day. There's ice forming here at my desk, but that hasn't prevented me from creating one of my famous tapes. Sorry this is getting out a little late to you, just wanted to have you look at something before we get to class tomorrow. Your exam is going to be tomorrow because grades close tomorrow. It is going to be a performance task. You will have two tasks. Basically, that means you take all of the concepts that we've learned in a unit and do something with them. And this is what you're going to be asked to do. First of all, you need to have this equation down like a rock. So y equals mx plus b, and we know that the m in this position represents the slope of my line, or the pitch, and b represents the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is here where my line, or where my equation intersects the y-axis. So let's look at some cases and try to figure out what that means. I'm going to do two examples. Example number one is if you take a taxi ride in New York or really anywhere else. Typically the fees are structured the same no matter where you go. When you step into the cab, you pay $4. Whether or not you go anywhere or not, you have to pay an initial fee of $4. After the initial fee of $4, you have to pay some amount, and let's just make our numbers easy. Let's say you pay $2 per mile. So if you're asked to put that into an equation to determine the y, or the cost of your ride, this is what my equation would look like. Y, the cost of my ride, is equal to 2, which is the slope, or the amount that I pay per mile x, plus the $4 that I paid just to sit my bottom down in the cab, whether or not I go anywhere. So reviewing, y equals 2, the $2 per mile, plus the $4, which is my fixed cost. The second thing you're going to have to do in your performance task is come up with a data chart. And a data chart is nothing more than what we did at the beginning of the year. I have my x on my left, my y on my right, and I choose my inputs. I choose my independent variable. So if I get in my cab and I choose to go 0 miles, I just get in and get out, I have to pay $4. Because if I put that in my equation, 0 times 2 is 0, 0 plus 4 is 4. Let's say I've got a short ride, just $1, or 1 mile. I go 1 mile, so 1 times 2 is 2, 2 plus 4 is 6. I would have to give the cab driver $6. You can go through this chart, but basically you're going to have to fill out a data chart, and I would say you're going to do at least 4 or 5 points. You make up whatever you want for the x, that's the independent variable, plug it into the x value here, and what you get is the total cost of your ride. The next thing you're going to have to do on a performance task is graph your ride. So pretty easy, we just start with a simple x and y coordinate plane. Actually, you're only going to use coordinate 1 because both the cost and the number of miles you travel will both be positive. But very important that you label your axis. The y-axis is your cost of the ride, cost of ride. The x-axis is the number of miles that you travel. So let's do a quick tally right here. When x is 0, y is 4. That's my y-intercept. So no matter if I just get into the cab, I've gone 0 miles, I still pay $4. If I go 1 mile, I will pay $6. So my second point is here. If I go 2 miles, I'm going to be paying $8, and as you can see, this is going to go straight up. You want to sketch your line in. It's a perfectly straight line, not proportional. It doesn't go through the y-intercept, but this is the line which represents the situation of a taxi ride. Now, I know you want a second example, so I have prepared one for you, and my second example is a custom fleece. So let's say that you are the business manager for a school, and I will show you a school. So for example, the Kip sweater has this logo on it. Looks just like that. The school was Renaissance School. So when I went about to set up making, excuse my camera here, when I went around to make these fleeces for the school and all the students, this is what I was charged by Lands' End. So Lands' End charges $40 just to set up their machines to make a school's logo. For each fleece, they charge $20, which is what the students would pay in addition to this fixed cost. But the fixed cost is for one shirt. It's also for 400 shirts. So if I'm asked to write an equation, once again, we're going to use the y equals mx plus b. And I encourage you to pause the tape just for 1 minute and try to come up with that equation all by yourself without looking at the answers. Okay, welcome back. If your equation said y, the total cost, is going to be $20 times the number of shirts that I buy plus the $40 that I have to pay to set it up, you would be correct. Once again, you're going to have to put this into a data chart. So I suggest you pause the tape, make your own data chart, and then when you come back, it should look something like this. For 0 fleeces, I still have to pay Lands' End $40 because they set up their machines. If I just buy one shirt, it's going to be $60. Let's see why. Go back up to your equation. 1 times 20 is 20. 20 plus 40 is indeed 60. Let's say I do 10 fleeces. 10 times 20 is 200. 200 plus 40 is 240. You're also going to have to graph this. So once again, the most important thing is that you set up your graph. This is your y, this is your x. Your x-axis is the number of fleeces that you purchase. Your y is your total cost. And the very first point on this, in this case I'm going to set these up by 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. For 0 shirts that I order just to set it up, it's 40. So my y-intercept is right there at 40. My next is 1 is going to be 60. So it's a pretty steep slope, 1 to 60. If I have 2 shirts, I go up to 80. If I have 10 shirts, I go up all the way up here to 240. And you can see I've got a nice straight line. Oops, missed that one. But it heads off into this direction. So enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions or you would like to video chat, I am available for the rest of the evening. Just send me a quick email or text me and I'll let you know how to do that. Enjoy the rest of your snow day. Go out, build a snowman, but before you do, please study for this test tomorrow.